Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we once again have Sir Nigel Gresley. This week I have actually done some work to it. I got its motor cleaned to the best of what I could get to. I'm not saying it's a 100% clean, perfectly brand new motor. I couldn't get to all of it, but I did the utmost best I could with the equipment and the time I had available to me, and with the access that I had as well. So I've done what I could, effectively, is the answer to that. Today I've got a little longer section of track. It extends a bit further, my oil in the background there, but it extends a bit further than normally would. And that's just simply due to the fact of me realising the track I had previously, which was from here to just about here, was just a little bit too short. So I've extended it so we've got a bit better range, so we can actually properly figure out what's going on and give them a good run in. Which is, still not the range I wanted to have. I'd much rather it be a full loop around that can go around for 45 minutes, but I can't set that loop up in the time I had available to set it up. Because I've been fiddling around with a lot of wires because they all got tangled up, and it just, it was not fun. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Don't get your wires tangled up. It's not a fun task to untangle them. It really isn't. Spent about half an hour doing that. I wish I hadn't, but here we are. So let's put some power to it and see what we're working with first off. If it's even railed in the first place, that is. The answer is it's not. Let's just check it. Yeah, it's railed now. Okay, so we'll have a go and see what happens. Now that is over 50% power. It's about 75 now, nearing 80%. Right, okay. So, that should be a lot faster than it is, and should have a lot more reactivity than it does. So there is something still slightly wrong with it. So the next step is to get the tender off the track and take the body off the tender and go from there. So let's crack on with doing that. So we'll take the engine off as well and put the engine in the background. And now let's focus on getting this off. So I'll get the body off and I'll be back once that is done. Right, so we're back and the tender body is now off. What I have done off camera, and it's literally a very quick task, is just take my finger to the gear and just see whether anything comes off. And the answer is literally nothing came off at all. Now I'm not saying you should have your finger completely covered in oil after doing that, nor am I saying your fingers should be completely dry. I'm saying there should be a little bit of evidence of oil, but not enough that it looks like it's been doused in it. It should just look oiled, but not too much. You can generally tell because it looks slightly wet, but not very wet at all. Because obviously you don't want it to look bone dry. If it looks bone dry, it needs oil and it needs it badly. If it looks like it's drenched, as if it's just been flooded in an ocean, then it's got too much oil on. It's finding that perfect medium between the two, which is basically as if a couple of drops have been put on, effectively, or just a gentle covering. Sometimes that's necessary, but I mean, for this case, all I'm going to do is put a couple of drops on the top and then some drops on the behind gears and drop on that gear. Just enough that they look like they've got some oil on them. And that is just generally what I work on, is as long as they look like they've got oil on them, they should be fine. And then I just go from there. So we'll do that, and then we'll see the reaction it gives from there, and then we'll go and see if it needs anything else. So I'll put some oil on and we'll be back after that's done. Right, so we're back in a different position now. So I've got the engine in front of the motor, because I took a little bit off camera to actually get the correct level of oil, but you might be able to see on camera, you might not, that they look a little bit more sort of wet now. So they are nicely covered in oil, just the right amount of oil that it's not going to mess up any internal mechanisms or anything like that. But it will certainly make the motor a lot happier. So, with that being said, we should probably test it, to be fair, which I have done a little bit of, because I needed the gears to sort of move around, just to sort of spread the oil around all the surfaces of the gears and all that. So, let's just shunt it down to the end of the track there, and we'll give it a little bit of power. So it's still a little bit unhappy, but it's a lot better. We'll let it go off the end, that's fine. So I can say that I had it full power, and it was originally quite unhappy, I'll be honest. But then I sort of held it from the back here, just sort of gently sort of holding it up a little bit, and it started off by sounding, I'm going to say all right, but for the power level of being on maximum with, 16 volts or whatever, I think it's 16 volts it's got in it currently, it should be a lot better. And then it just sort of started to kick in, so which was really good, because I really liked hearing it sort of open up, I guess you could say. So we'll put it up to like 80 here, and you can see it just goes now, which is really, really, really good. So yeah, that's pretty much it done, to be fair. So yeah, good to see it finally sort of opening up in terms of power level again. It's not fully finished, I'll be honest. It's got some work that needs doing. It also needs to run in for several hours. I'm probably going to give it 1.5 hours, maybe, if I'm pushing it a stretch, 2 hours of running in and forward, and then about the same in reverse, because I may or may not have seen some people that I know, when they're running in an engine, they just run it in forward for 2-3 hours, and they just basically say that'll do. But in reality, anyone at home who's got an engine that needs to be run in after repair, whatever, generally 1.5 hours will do in forward, and then do the same amount of time in reverse, just in a loop, and that way the motor's got enough time to run on both sides and just basically work itself back in and make sure it's all running perfectly fine. So yeah, definitely run it in the same time in forward as reverse, and generally that should be about an hour or an hour and a half, just giving it a good enough time. Obviously I'll go a bit over the sort of normal time. I think that's an hour and a half is about Hornby's recommended time, but do check your leaflet you get with whatever engine you get. If it's a Hornby engine, they do provide you with a service manual or something equivalent to that, so do read that. It'll tell you how to run engines and all that, so yeah, do read them, it's quite useful. But for me, I just generally run it in extra, just to sort of, gauge how quickly the oil's going, what level the oil needs topping up on, and sort of things like that, which is more of a sort of technical, repair-minded sort of thing that I will find out. So, for an average person who's just going to run it, you don't need that much time to run it in. But for someone who's going to repair engines like me, I sort of run them in longer so I can get extra details about it, and how the motor operates in certain sort of ways, and the oil level that it consumes, and all those sorts of things, which just helps me build up a sort of service manual history for it, so I know how regularly to do certain things like oiling and stuff like that. So that's just sort of my personal preference of how I do it. But yeah, it is running, I think. But it'll run until I next try and put it on track again, and then it won't run at all, which is generally, it's generally a thing I find quite often. But yeah, don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, that is it for this video. If you did like this video, please do like, so it sort of helps other people see the video. And if you do like this sort of content that I'm doing at the minute, please do subscribe, so I know to do more of it. And when you do subscribe, please do turn on your post notifications so you get notified whenever I post a video. And with that all being out the way, I shall see you next week for one of two things. One, we could be working on the chassis project again, because that needs to get finished. Actually, there's three things technically. Two is doing a little surprise video, which I would love to mention, but I can't yet because we have to wait for my Cards and Trainers channel to reveal something that will be part of it. But there will potentially be a fun video next week, which is not necessarily such a serious video of like me actually repairing something or whatever. It'll be more of me having a bit of fun because I can have some fun. So do tune in for that, and we'll see how that one goes. And the third option, which is unlikely to happen, is the beginning of the railway project, which I want to start pretty soon. That is unlikely to begin this week or next week. It's looking to be end of May, beginning of June before that starts. But it is getting close now. So do keep an eye out for that. But with that all being said, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope to see you all in next week's video. Bye for now. Bye.